the course of the last year and early this year, tech innovators unleashed generative AI en masse, dazzling business leaders, investors, and society at large with the technological ability to create entirely new and seemingly human-made text and images, right? The response was unprecedented. In just 5 days, 1 million users flocked to ChatGPT, OpenAI's generative AI language model that creates original content in response to user prompts. It took Apple, more than 2 months to reach the same level. It took about 10 months for Facebook to get there, and likewise Netflix and stuff. And ChatGPT is not alone in the generative AI industry.
There are so many pros and cons of the generative AI. The thing is still evolving. Every day we get to hear new things and all.
Increasing business adoption of technology, right? The best thing I like about ChatGPT and other Gen AI, technology is it can actually translate not just between the languages, but also between user personas, right? You can actually, take a code and you can ask to explain the code in a more business-oriented manner, right? You can actually get a business-specific context from, let's say, a Python code or a PySpark code, right? Imagine if we are able to integrate our current, advanced AI components and add it into one top layer of the application. When the business user is using, the business user is able to understand all the nitty-gritties of the technology, build the trust of using the insights that's created by the product or the technology, will be able to, use the technology in the right manner, right? Because today a lot of business users, they are like not comfortable. I don't know what's happening, what kind of models I use. I'm not comfortable with the rules that you have created in a specific application. If we are able to translate or make the explainability of some of our AI technologies and products very, very easily readable for our business users, imagine the level of adoption and imagine the impact that it's going to create.
If we do not use these tools, probably we would lag behind. Doing paperwork will not solve our purpose. Doing our jobs using paperwork will slow our pace. Will keep ourselves restricted to only few of the activities that we can perform in a day's time. And with such a competitive world, within such a fast-moving world, we have to keep pace with it, and digital technologies are the only way through which we can do that. So somebody or the other will have to learn these tools. Somebody or the others will have to adopt their mindset towards using these tools, because these tools are not replacing you. These tools are enabling you to do your work faster, right? So from that perspective, I don't see any competitive advantages, for the AI versus humans, because humans can now focus on much more complicated jobs. Humans can think about a lot more difficult problems to be solved, which machines have not been able to solve till now. Just doing, few automated tasks does not make that, the productivity has been replaced by some machine. We are going from high touch to low touch mode. That's perfectly fine. We are automating the workflows, but still, these AI tools will be used more as a validators of the work processes and not as the primary tool which can self-automate and self-do the jobs.
I mean, you talked about industry and how human expertise or human and AI will work together, how human expertise can complement AI and and vice versa, right? I think by leveraging the strength of both human and AI, organizations can improve, decision making, increase efficiency and productivity. And why I say so is that one of the constraint with, so for example, I'll give you an example, right? You would have seen that with ChatGPT and add-ins on top of that. One of the things that has started having, we are having is that ChatGPT is generating codes, right? And this is being leveraged across industry, right? But when it comes to something like coding, or when it comes to something like solving a complex quant-intensive problem, right? Correctness is one of the biggest constraint, right? Whereas when it comes to creativity, right? when it comes to generating content, right? I think there is not one way of having correctness, right? You can have multiple ways of generating a content, and it can still be appreciated by a substantial substantial population.
A few of the applications that I can broadly think of are specifically around improvements in medical imaging, which is where the Gen AI models can create synthetic images that are close to real images. Techniques which can be used could be around generative adversarial networks or variational autoencoders, as an example. Another area where I feel generative AI would significantly help is reducing the administrative burden, because documentation in the healthcare sector is a cumbersome task because of obvious regulatory requirements for the front desk staff, where they have to fulfill or fill in patient data, schedule appointments, and attend to patient queries as well.
Thing like drug discovery is very complex and lengthy process, or vaccine creation takes long time. And so this will be the AI for healthcare will be very, very transformative in nature because of the machine's ability to do something which human can't do. So it's not always AI is doing something which human does it at a low end level and kind of thing, but now it is able to do something which humans can't do. When it comes to the precision engineering, correct, be it a chip design or where the optimization of space is very, very critical, where again the humans struggle, correct, in a creating so much of simulation of what is the in a smallest tiniest area in millimeters or nanometers, how do I space a various diode or triode and various electronic semiconductor devices. That becomes an area of this thing. And overall, the knowledge quotient of planet Earth will multiply exponentially because no more the language is the constraint.
I personally think it is going through the hype cycle. By the time it will come to a mainstream, really useful, powerful applications, where the skepticism starts settling in, like we know this disbelief and a type of depression that we go through. I think this is not the tool I was looking for. I was looking for something else. I think it will start in a year or so because when it's the role, right? And then after that, slowly people start believing, okay, let me tune this a little bit towards something with more useful, where I can use it for productive applications.
We have a very diverse set of diverse kind of country. There are so many languages, and then the status in terms of financial terms is also very diverse. So one of the important area which I can see is the education, where the technology can impact a lot. So basically, imagine how a content can be generated. Say number one, for the different set of say people who have, say for example, different languages. That is the first order of thing. So any content which is in English, you can generate in Hindi, Kannada, Malayalam, or any. Then secondly, it could be generated in a way that is very much specific to that particular culture. So that is one important aspect that generative AI can take care of.
I think there is a dire need, in my opinion, of a regulation in this area. Particularly on content generation and also many other generative AI technologies that we are seeing today. And the list is endless, actually. And there is absolutely no right way. So companies trying to minimize risk. Like always, all the companies are trying to minimize risk. Small companies have very low risk. Like if you talk about OpenAI or even talk about Stable Diffusion or even Runway ML, which has making strides, I think all of those companies have, like, I can go on record and say, because of considering smaller companies, like they have lower risk on these kind of things. For all the big companies, I think the risk is immense to release something like this, and that is the reason there is no regulation, there is no criteria, so nobody knows what is right, what is wrong, and somebody has to call internal in the company or other companies, right? So people can sue left and right, and in this case, is what I believe, a regulation will help the company to decide what is right and wrong, and then release a very responsible product.
Public know-how is becoming private know-how. Something has to be looked at not only from AI perspective, it is happening across the technological world, where any e-commerce, open source e-commerce are becoming proprietary, operating systems, open source operating systems are becoming proprietary. So I think it has to be looked into at much larger level, which is least talked about because most of the time the larger companies are involved, and they are driving the narrative of what is ethical and what is non-ethical.
Well-being, skills, plus kind of bringing this balance of human element into this, what we have in society of interconnectedness and all of them, is going to be, we need to involve all disciplines or interdisciplinary people to design systems as opposed technologists to design this system, because technologists will think only one way, right, and disruptive, right? But society, as I mentioned before, multiple stakeholders and a lot of good examples have been given. A safer AI or a safer technology will have all stakeholder views and also involve interdisciplinary people as opposed to something which is very, okay, I'll keep innovating at the pace I wanted to do. Regulation is only one angle to it, but there are a lot of responsible angles that as technologists we need to think about what we are leaving for our future, right? So be it for any of the things that we wanted to. So that's what I would suggest, maybe individual plus a collective responsibility.
As enterprises, we also owe a lot to the society to educate them. So far, we focus a lot on training our colleagues internally within the organization so that we feel that they are equipped with principles of data privacy, principles of data security. However, if you look at our obligation towards society, if we were to also educate our customers as well, maybe majority of us have several channels or presence in social media. If our customers are more aware, I think that's where there will be a greater amount of trust that they will have in the companies that they deal with. That's second. And I think third and foremost, which is also important, is accountability of decisioning. Who should hold that accountability in an event a decision goes wrong?
Maybe the current state of generative AI won't be the state of generative AI creation in terms of technology. I would say in next 3-4 years also, I feel. The reason simply is like, if you think about how, let's say, a transformer architecture, or basically like how LLMs are trained, it's kind of what he said is auto-regressive. That means that you predict the next word and then use the next word to predict the next word, and then you predict the next word kind of thing. But humans don't think like that, right? Humans basically plan and then speak. Like you never say that I speak the next word and then I'll think about what the next word should be, right? Humans always think about how to plan to speak the next sentence, right? And then they speak the entire sentence. Or whatever the exact text that they have to do, right? And that aspect of training that we do right now with just transformer architecture in an auto-regressive sense also make the technology really unsafe in the way it needs to be used. And for that reason, I believe that the way we create this technology might have a significant impact if there are innovation, the safety aspect.
Technology is used as a tool to scale up people's time, not as a tool to help people create content that they would typically not be comfortable saying. This is a very important pillar for us, which means depending on the use case, like for we typically, if the face is a very important face, we get consent from them on the script, so they approve whatever the text is. Then the video gets created, and they approve a video. After which we only make minor tweaks to the video and are able to create millions of versions of the video of a video content. So that way people are comfortable that they feel in control of the process at all times.
To come out of those silos, there has to be a planned thinking. The technology that we are trying to develop has to be pervasive enough, which allows all the stakeholders to utilize it at the same level. And for that, I think there has to be a planning being done between government, academia and industry, where we all collectively see how ready we are with respect to the technology adoption, how literate we are with respect to the technology adoption, how centric we are towards using that technology, and how dexterous we are with respect to the hands-on application. Now, this has to be collectively taken into consideration within all the three stakeholders. It cannot be the responsibility of just one, that we just say that only academic institutions will do that, or only industry will do that, or only government will do that. That cannot happen. It has to be a collective take.
So maybe, AI and actually, Gen AI and technologies and some of the use cases that we have been talking about can help us maybe create a healthy debate, data-based debate, actually create a more inclusive environment. And when we talk about inclusiveness, of course, it's not just about, women inclusiveness. It's about a lot of different kinds of inclusiveness, where we also talk about mental health as a big problem, right? You want to ensure that every kind of people are coming together, collaborating together, and building a better future or building a better company.
We need a major transform in the education system in the India, so that we can actually get to the thing. Second thing is, especially not from the curriculum but from the research perspective also, we should, in the universities, should focus research, and then so that people can themselves get to know about the new thing, whatever is going on, and then they so in this perspective, I guess the role of government and industry also becomes very important, not just the academia. So academia does the research, but I guess we are faced with the challenges of like the finances and other things. So government and industry should also support that kind of a thing.
As a result of doing a lot of work in generative AI, we become a de facto place for every great engineer who's coming back to India to at least consider us as one of the companies to work for. And as in the last few years, all thanks to the instability in other parts of the world, lots of people have come back. And I mean, we have engineers from Amazon US today, we have people from Samsung Korea, we have people from coming back directly after CMU after AI, and that's really helped us hire again the best AI talent without paying say $750K of San Francisco.
I would like to thank each one of you for your time, your perspectives, and I look forward to next set of roundtables where we all can meet and discuss upon more issues around AI, not just to solve those issues, to understand them and educate ourselves. I stand educated a lot.
We do have a LinkedIn group known as Technology Game Changers. We'd love for you to kind of join that group and contribute actively and learn from one another.